All right, we are live. It is a Monday. We see Bitcoin pumping pretty friggin' hard right now. Okay, this is actually really good news. We see the S&P pumping, which is probably one of the things that's driving Bitcoin pumping. Trudeau, or whatever the dude's name was, from Canada, he is now stepping down apparently from his position in the Canadian government. So that could be one of the key drivers of the S&P pumping right now, and then also driving Bitcoin to pump, right? Now, if you were here for the past couple of streams, right, you might think, okay, this isn't why. This isn't necessarily why Bitcoin is pumping, because we know the technical analysis behind it, right? We saw the cup and handle. We saw the bull flag. We called it out days and days and days ago, right? So that's why we took the trade, right? We took the trade, we set it up. We've set up multiple trades for gains, and we took the trade, right? Now, I do have a little bit of bad news, but we'll get into that in just a second. For the people that are here, man, I appreciate you. Seriously, I appreciate everybody that shows up. I'm going to apologize in advance. Well, not in advance. Actually, this is after the fact. This is not in advance. I accidentally set this stream up to start at 11 a.m. Eastern time instead of 12 p.m. Eastern time. So that's my bad that I basically false flagged everybody. I probably, some people were jumped on at 11 a.m. and then I showed up an hour late. I did mean to start this at noon, but I accidentally did that. So that's my fault. I'll make sure not to do that any further. I do have a little bit of good news. We're going to be able to share the, I figured out how to share the actual pages without having to do the screen share. So you won't have to see the Inception style stuff whenever I go back to my StreamYard and pop up comments like this, like my main man, Billy, who I met in Miami at the Miami meetup for Wolfer and Precinct. Dude's an absolute legend. Love this guy. Got a picture with him, me, and Craig, actually. So, Billy, shout out to you. Shout out to your family. Hope everything's going well. Hope everybody had a good Christmas, good New Year's. Hopefully, 2025 is treating everybody well thus far. Now, I do think that I was talking about this a little bit a while back. I think it was on Friday, on the Friday stream, where I think that Trump coming into office is going to be good for the markets. It's going to be good for crypto. It's going to be good for a lot of different things, right? My bias is that if I'm Trump, this is just my opinion. You can think whatever you want. I know there's a lot of people out there, analysts, KOLs in particular, that agree with this kind of synopsis. If I'm Trump, I don't want to come in at all-time highs. I don't want to come in at all-time highs. I don't want to come in at the peak. It's like whenever you start high school, there's 4 years of high school, right? There's 4 years of his presidency. You don't want to come in as like the peak of peaks your freshman year, and then by the time you get to your fourth year, which is year 12 in school, where do you have to go if you come in at your peak, right? So we have a peak in Bitcoin. We have a peak in the S&P. We saw a little bit of a retracement on both of these, markets and assets. And I don't know, man. I think like we've got 14 days and, I would look for a little bit of downside is my bias on that. If I'm Trump, that's what I'm wanting to see. Okay. And so I'm still not saying like new all-time high. Can we get there? Yes, we can. And I'm going to show you exactly how we get to those new all-time highs with the charts, on the charts, with technical analysis. I'm not going to say, oh, Trump's going to come in and say, oh, yeah, Bitcoin to the moon, and that's going to take us there. No, I'm going to show you how we get there on the charts, what needs to happen in order for us to get there. I'm also going to show you what happens or what needs to happen if we're going to break down. I'm going to give you the levels. We're going to do this all live. Like, I don't really have too much set up for it. I want to do it and show people my thought process while we're doing it live, right? That's the whole point, so that people can learn, so that people can understand, so that people can get inside my head. Be careful with that, right? So that people can get inside my head and say, okay, I understand why Drew enters these positions. I understand why Drew has this thesis, right? And so far on that long trade, which I have a little bit of bad news about, that long trade that we took, literally yesterday, that thesis was correct. Okay. That cup and handle thesis was correct. And it still could continue to play out to the upside. I'm going to give you the level that we need to hit. And we're not even going to mess around anymore. We're just going to go right into the level. Okay. Bam. Let's see it. Oh, damn, Daniel. Drew's getting wrecked. Drew's down $228. Drew, I thought you said yesterday you were going to make like $1,400 on that position. Like, why am I down almost $300 on my position now? Okay, so I got a little bit of bad news. Okay, so we took that long. I know I said that we were going to make about $1,400. It was like $1,500. That was going to be our, what we were going to make. We didn't make $1,400. Unfortunate. We made $1,900, baby. Let's go. Let's get it. So it's bad news. I'm just tricking everybody. I'm just, you know how I am. We made 19 hundo off of that, right? And we also closed out the Doge position with $4 of profit before this run happened. And then we also closed out Cardano at a 91 cent, basically break even. So we lost $0 on these trades, and then we made $1,900 on the Bitcoin trade. We actually made over 2K, but you get smacked on fees, man. You get smacked on fees, opening fee, closing fee, funding fee. I mean, I got hit for like $150 worth of fees, right? That's just the name of the game. That's just what happens. Okay. But we did make, $1,900. So that's great. And if you look at the order history, let me see. Where's the close long position? Okay. So, oh, wait, I'm probably way too big in the screen. Did I just mess up my own? Yeah, I did. I messed up my own announcement. Way to go. All right, we'll go back to it. My bad. Okay, so as you can see, position history, we made $1,900 here. Let's pop it up on the screen. Bing, bang, boom. Right? So we took that for gains. That was like a 2-day trade. We took that for gains. That was great. Our average exit price was 99,728. Actually, that's not accurate. But for whatever reason, BitGet just puts that there like that. It is what it is, but I'm going to show you the actual exits because I gave you my exits yesterday. Okay. I gave you my exits, my exit points. So I'm going to show you exactly what my exits were. I got to scroll down here. Okay. So my close long, my first exit was at, we took 18, almost 19% gains on that. And it was at 99,734. And if you remember that, let me get up my, boom. Okay. So if you remember, these were our levels, right? These were our levels. This was our trade. We entered here. We went long and we wanted to aim for this value area high, but we were okay taking profits here at the 99,850 level. So I placed my order just under that, right? I placed my take profit order just under that. I took half profit at this level right here at about $99,800 almost exactly, right? As you can see, 99,734. And then I took my other take profit at 101,167, so about 101.2. Why did we do that? Because we wanted to aim for the value area high, which was at 101,343. And as you can see, it hit it, right? So that's why we took our profits here. And on this one, we actually made like 30% or something like that. Yeah, like 33%. So the average fill price is actually not 99.7, whatever it was, right? Now, I have opened a short position on Bitcoin, okay, up here. And I'm going to show you why. And it is down like $200. And then I also opened up a short position on this other coin called SPX. This is a very small position. I mean, I literally, dude, do I only have $50 on this? I thought I had like $250 on this. So apparently my position is way smaller than I thought it was. So this might not even be worth taking. I might close that out in my opinion. Why did I open up that position? Because I like to go to the crypto bubbles when things are pumping or dumping and see what's down and up the biggest. SPX was the thing that was up the biggest. And I went and looked at the chart on SPX, and I'll show you why I entered that position. Okay. Where's it at? Nope, not that one. It's on BitGet. Sorry. 1 second. I gotta find BitGet. Yep. Okay. Here's why. Okay. Because I saw these upward trending channels, right? Okay. So here's the first upward trending channel. And this is on the 1 hour chart. Okay. So don't really pay too terribly much attention to all this other stuff really quick. This is definitely a rising wedge, okay? So what you're seeing right here is a rising wedge pattern. Now, this kind of looks like a bull pennant, but since it busted out of it and then came back into it, I don't think it's that much of a bull pennant, to be honest with you. Like, real talk. I don't like bull pennants that much whenever they're angled up, right? This is not a good bull pennant. A bull pennant should be looking like this, okay? A bull pennant should look like this, right? It should have like a triangle, almost like a symmetrical triangle. So because this one's angling up, that's why I don't like that. So let me hide this and I'll show you what's really going on, right? Let me hide these two trend lines really quick. Boom, there's that. And then let's get these horizontal rays out of here. This is what's actually happening, right? You're seeing an upward trending channel, right? Or at the very least, you're kind of seeing this right here, which is going to be a rising wedge pattern, okay? What do we know about rising wedges? They tend to come up here and then they reach this little inflection point and they break down, okay? That's what usually happens with rising wedges, all right? So whenever I see this rising wedge, I'm immediately thinking like, okay, short here, maybe short here. If we get a little bit further outside of it, maybe short here, right? And then write it down right here to this area, right? That's what I'm seeing, right? And so as you can see, that's exactly where I put my orders too. I put my orders at $1.40 to take profits and $1.71, which is way outside of this range, right? So $1.71 is all the way up here, right? That's where my stop loss is, right? And I'll show you why my stop loss is up there. And then my take profit is right here at 141, right? So that's my bias. I didn't know I was in a $50 trade. I wish I would have known I was in a $50 trade. I probably would have, made it a little bit bigger, at least $250, but it is what it is. I do have another order that's like right up here, and I'm going to show you why I have that order. If you give me just one, boom, boom, and where's this last line? Failure pattern. Okay. So that's my take profit. This is resistance, right? As you can see, the resistance is hit right now and it's falling back under it, right? And we're thinking it's probably going to go right back down here. So I don't really care as much about this trade now that I know I only have $50 on it and I can make it the most $16. We're not going to spend too terribly much time on it, but I do want to do the TA for you just to show you why I'm putting my orders where I put them. We have an upward trending channel, right? This is an upward trending channel. What do these normally do? Well, we know exactly same thing. They tend to break down, right? And then they come back down into support, like right there. Then we have this larger upward trending channel, right? Which is why I put a secondary order right up here in the $1.64 range. If we go to my pending orders, I'll show you exactly that. Things are being a little bit squirrely, but yeah, here you go. $1.66. And that is exactly where I want to put my order because that is exactly where this upward trending channel top is, right? And then we write it down. So I'll probably edit that order once we get off of this in order to actually have like a sizable position because $50 isn't going to get us anywhere. But be that as it is, it's probably going to be a profitable position. Now I want to get back to Bitcoin because I'm going to show you what's happening with Bitcoin and how this kind of like played out for us. So obviously we hit our first take profit, which was right here, right? Then we hit our second take profit, which was right here. And then I started shorting as soon as we got outside of this value area high from this fixed range volume profile, right? And I'm going to zoom out and show you where that fixed range volume profile is pulled from. Okay. So let me get this tool off of here. Bam. Okay. So this fixed range volume profile is pulled from whenever we broke 80K all the way up to the upside, right? All the way up to the all-time high. This is where we really started our parabolic move up, right? Our big move up, okay? Then we saw the cup and handle, which is why we started entering in this handle, right? And then I'll show you where we entered just in case there's new people on this call. And, everybody can learn, right? If you have any coins that you would like for me to look at live, I'll be more than happy to do it. Take advantage of that. because I've given people trade setups that have absolutely played out. And, a lot of them I'm taking live while we're, on these calls. Right. So, anyways, this is where we started. Let's take our long position off of here just to make it look a little bit better for you. This is where we started entering, right? We started entering whenever we came back and bearishly or bullishly retested this trend channel of the cup and handle. As you can see, it was moving downwards, right? We entered right here, I believe is at like $98,000, right? We entered right here, okay? Then I even entered a little bit more once we got down here. I believe this is right where I entered. I actually moved this cup and handle pattern a little bit from the last call because it has actually developed a little bit further. And we could see downside all the way down to about this point of control, which is in the $98,500 range. Okay. So what we could see happen on Bitcoin is we could see this happen, right? We got rejected right here. We're trying to test this and hold this key level of support, right? If we don't hold this support, this value area high is a key level of support as well. But my guess is we're probably not going to bounce from that, even though we could. And then we would have to take out this previous swing high. My bias is that we would probably start heading down here to meet this 20 moving average, right? The 20 moving average is a magnet. So I'm targeting at the very least a move down like to around the $100,000 range to about 99.5, right? That's where these two supports and resistances are. And as you can see, those were previous swing highs that we just broke, right? So those are going to be flipped to resistance. So is this right here, which is the value area high, because we have now broken that. And we confirmed a candle outside of it, which was this candle, right? So now we're we're trying to bullishly retest this and continue upwards. But what is that resistance from, right? That resistance is from all of this over here, right? All of these times that we smacked up against it and then we came back down and we actually respected it again on the move up. We did wick above it, but that's where we started this big dump from, right? Is that level. So that's why we have a resistance point, and that's actually technically support. If we go under it, it's resistance. So I had this, I'm actually going to label this support now. Because I had this labeled before it actually got flipped to resistance, or flipped from resistance to support. So once we get below, which we're technically below at this 101,950 level, right? We could see price heading down more towards here, right? And so that is why I have entered this short right here, because I'm like, okay, we took out these highs, right? We took out these highs over here. We took these out and we're trending upwards. Okay. But here's what I'm seeing and why I'm thinking, all right, we are at the very least probably going to come back down here and test this value area high. But what you do is you sell resistance and you trade inside of these zones, right? Fixed range volume profiles. That's why we pull them. You sell this resistance to ride it back down to the point of control. If you lose the point of control, guess what you do? You ride it back down to the value area low. And then what do? You flip and you buy the value area low and ride it back up to the point of control. If that doesn't hold, you ride it back up, boom, to the value area high, right? And I want to show you how this has played out in the past, okay? I'm going to take all of this other stuff off of here just so that you can see it really well. Okay, so this is our value area high, this top orange line, right? We came up, we tested right here, that point of control. We got rejected. We came down to the value area low, came back up to the point of control, right? Naturally, that's exactly what we did. Then we came back down. We tried to retest the value area low. We didn't quite get there. This was showing bullish momentum. We moved up. We got above the value area high. What this tells us right here, this is overvalued, okay? Comparatively to what the volume has been trading in all of these ranges, right? In this range right here, from here to here, this is overvalued. So this was significantly overvalued, which is why I was telling people I'm shorting at 107, 108, 106, 105. That's why I was shorting there. Then we came back down. We hit the point of control. We came back above the value area high. Bam, slammed right back down. Guess where? Value area low, baby. It's very simple. We come back up to the point of control, slam back down to the value area low, point of control. We start to capitulate a little bit, right? Show you what I'm talking about. Start to capitulate a little bit right over here. Bam. Right. And then we lose it again. Guess where we came? Value area low. You long that. All right. And then you ride it up again to the point of control where you start to capitulate again. You blast through. Bam. Value area high. Right. Now, what this is telling me now is that this is overvalued. Okay. This right over here. Give me 1 second. Let me move this over. This is overvalued. Okay. So what you're going to want to see is a revisit to the point of control or right here, right? Now, what do we have to do to continue moving upward? Okay. We have to do this. No, that's the wrong one. Let me pull up my higher highs and higher lows. Okay. This is essentially what we have to do to get upwards. And I'm going to take everything else off of here so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about, right? We have to get up to this high. All right. And if you zoom out and you come over here, you'll see exactly what that high is marking. It's marking the high from after the dump, right? So we had our all-time high here. We came all the way down here to the point of control. We set a lower high, right? And then we dumped all the way down here. And then, you kind of see what happened, right? Lower high, low, like same low, same high, lower low. Well, technically kind of the same low, even though it did go a little bit lower here. And then now we have taken out that previous high right here. Okay. And we are looking to try to take this high out right here. So that's why that is marked on the chart. If we get above this, that's where my stop loss is at 102.8 something, right? And the high on this candle, we can actually give you the exact high is 102.796. So if you go above 102.8, you have now set a higher high and you want to be longing. Okay. If we come up and we do this, right? And you want to wait until a retest. Okay. Don't just long because it wicks above it, right? It could totally keep going up. Don't get me wrong. If we come above here, right? You would want to see this. That is where you would enter on a bounce, right? And then you would set your stop loss just outside of this, probably at this value area high, right? That's good risk to reward, right? And what would you be targeting? All-time highs, baby. You'd be targeting all-time high. I'll show you. Bam. This is what you're targeting. This move right here. All-time highs. At the very least, you're targeting 105.3. That's your first take profit target. And then you're targeting 108.1, somewhere in that realm, right? So those are the levels, right? And that is how, like right now, the only trade I would suggest being in is a short, right? And it's because we got outside of this value area high, right? We are coming up to this and we kind of got rejected at it, even though we didn't hit it. We have been rejected from it and volume is starting to fall off. Okay. What do I mean by volume starting to fall off? Look at the volume on these two candles right here. This is the volume, right? This is our volume. Look how high it is. And then look at it's half the volume almost on this candle right here, this next candle right here. And that was a doji candle. If you zoom in, you'll see that was a doji candle. That's an indecision candle. Usually in uptrends, this is signifying a reversal. I'm not saying to enter just because of that, right? Do not enter just because a doji printed. But then we're only about halfway through the hour on this. So this, this volume could come more up like here, like more in line with the volume on that previous candle. But you see where I'm going with it, right? Like that's my point is volume is starting to fall off, right? And when you see volume starting to fall off on an uptrend, that's when you're wanting to start thinking about either getting out of your position, which is exactly what I did, made $1,900 off of it, and also maybe reversing to go back down to a previous area of support, right? Now, this point of control does also line up with the 50 moving average right at around $98,700. Where is my take profit? $98,800, right? So the more that this 50 keeps coming up, right? Because this 50 right now is at 98,659, right? So if it starts creeping up a little bit further, I might start trailing my take profit up, right? let's see what I stand to even make off of this trade. 16 hundo. And the most that we would lose is a 2x risk to reward, right? And we're riding high on a almost $2,000 profit. So I'm willing to risk that, risk it for the biscuit, baby, to come right back down here and take another 16 hundo profit. I'm good on that, right? We also see that the RSI is massively oversold. Okay. This is not good. This is not what you want to see on RSI. Okay. So RSI right here was at 81, still at 81. Now it's starting to trend downwards. It's at 80. This, anything above 70 level is oversold. Anything above 80 is or overbought. Anything that's above 80 is massively overbought, right? You get into the 90s, like, dude, short that thing, right? So that's kind of my point. I'm gonna think RSI is probably gonna start trending downwards here, right? And it's probably gonna cross this signal line over the next, over the coming potential hours, right? Then what you're also seeing is that the stochastic oscillator, which reacts much faster than RSI, is also super overbought. It was at 100, as you can see here, and it's above the signal line, and now it's curling down towards the signal line, right? And it's still at 95. In order for it to be overbought on this, it has to be above 80. So my bias is we're probably going to see this start to trend downwards after we see that happen as well. With Market Cipher B, let's see what's happening with Market Cipher B just really quick. I don't think anything crazy is happening. We did get the green dot, which is what basically took us all the way. Let me see. Let me get all this. Yeah, the green dot was like right here. So that's what kind of showed us that we were going to be going up. But on Market Cipher, we are seeing momentum is like going upwards, right? So we have this momentum wave. This momentum wave is higher, right? But here's my point. If this momentum starts to trend downwards, that's not a good look for this, okay? If this momentum starts to trend downwards and this money flow starts to go downwards, look at what's happening to the VWAP. VWAP's looking like it's wanting to cross over to the downside. That's like your first indication. And probably what'll happen is when that happens, you'll see a red dot print on like the next couple of hourly candles. So that's my point. I'm cool with being in a short here. I'm sitting really pretty, riding high on almost $2,000 profit on a less than $8,000 position. It was an $80,000 trade. As you can see in the thumbnail, it was an $80,000 trade. And as it sits right now, I'm in about a $60,000 trade because I have $6,000 on this at a 10x leverage. So I'm in a $60,000 short position right now. So that's kind of my point is I would like to see us come back down here, bullishly retest this, and then shoot up and crack this high. And then what I would want to see is crack this high, bam, right? And then move up towards the all-time high, or at least this 105 level, which I will actually put a line there so that everybody can kind of like mark that on your charts and keep that in mind. Actually, I'm going to use the magnet tool so that it's actually like a perfect measurement. Boom. 105.3. Okay, that's your first target. Your second target is going to be the all-time high. 107.649. That doesn't seem like the all-time high to me. No, that's because it isn't. There we go. 108.4. Okay. So this is what we'll be seeing in terms of, like what I want to see, right? Is come back down here to the point of control and then bounce from it. That would get us like really, really bullish momentum. Okay. So that's what I'm wanting to see. That's why I'm shorting. And yeah, I mean, the short is down what, $153? Who cares? It's down literally 2%, 2.5%. I don't care. I'm willing to risk, to see if we can get rejected off of this high, come back down here. And then I take my profits after we bullishly retest this, right? Boom. I'm longing and I'm aiming for all-time highs, or at the very least 105.3. Okay. Now here's another reason why I'm shorting. Okay. And I'm going to put the short position in here so that everybody can see it. Let's see if we got the short position. Okay. So we shorted what's our average price? 101.6. Okay. So we'll call it 101.6. Close enough. Good enough. We're coming all the way down here and we are willing to risk it for the biscuit all the way here. So we've got like a 2x risk to reward on that. We're good on that. Okay. We know that we stand to make $1,600 and lose half of that, right? But whenever we're riding on 2K profit, we're not as much worried about the $750 or $800 we could potentially lose, because guess what happens? If we crack this, all I have to do is come in here and click one button, reverse, right here, as you can see, and I'm reversing it on the bullish retest, boom. And then we're going to make that $800 back quick, fast, and in a hurry once we hit that 105, right? So, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Once we come, if that were to happen, right? If that were to happen, I would then enter long here, right? And then I would aim for this. And I would keep my stop pretty friggin' close. I would probably keep it under these two little like candle wicks right here. And I've got a 4.5 risk to reward ratio. I'm good on that, right? So let's take this off of the screen. I'm going to show you what the long trade is once we get down here, because this one is going to pay big money. If indeed what I think is going to happen happens, it's going to pay big money. Okay, so let's say we enter just above the 50, and then we target this, and then we put our stop loss just under the 100 moving average right here. Like, I love dynamic moving averages. I use them for a reason. But boom. Okay. We're looking at an 11x risk to reward ratio, because if we come down here, right, and I'm going to explain to you why. If we come down here and then I buy long, I know that my thesis is nullified if we get under the 100 and then bearishly retest it. We're going to head to the 200, right? That's a fact. Like, that's what, okay, I won't say it's a fact, but that's usually what happens. Whenever we come down, if we lose the 50, if we lose the point of control and we lose this 100, it's super bearish for us, right? We're probably heading more down here, back down to the value area low at about 92K, which is why I'm okay, especially if I'm riding on profits from this trade going down, reversing and riding it all the way back up here, right? Now, I want to also show people another like couple of reasons why I'm shorting here, because I've already given you a bunch, but I really I like to back up my analysis, like overly back it up, right? I like to overly back up my analysis, right? So let's get to the 4-hour chart, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that I saw on the 4-hour chart that I don't think a lot of people are going to see. I really don't. I don't think a lot of people are going to see this. So let's take off all of this stuff, actually. I'm even going to take off the FRVP, because we know where our stuff is, right? Okay. So here's another thing that we might be seeing, and this is before I do all the other analysis. I'm seeing a potential head, right? Whoops, sorry. I'm seeing a potential head or shoulder right here, left shoulder, head, right? And then a potential right shoulder here. And if you did that, right, let's draw it out. I'll do it really quick. It doesn't take me anything to do this. Okay, let's call it right here, all the way up to here, down to here, all the way up to here, down to here, up to here. And then this is our neckline, right? So this is upward sloping, which is what you would want to see a head and shoulders be. If it was downward sloping, I would say it's not a head and shoulders. But this is a possible head and shoulders pattern, and you can measure this from the top all the way down to the low, right, which is right here to the neckline. And then you take that measurement and you bring it to where the neckline would break, and it's probably taking us to like 75K. Dude, that's not where you want to be. But let's save this head and shoulders as well. This is on the 4-hour H and S. Okay. So that's my point. There's that. Okay. So there's that, right? We know we can kind of see that. I'm not saying it's going to play out. If we break up above here, right, which is kind of like the 104 range, this head and shoulders is nullified. That's the good news, right? This is going to get nullified right around here. Okay. So that's your line in the sand on that. If we break above 104, the head and shoulders, it doesn't matter. It's not head and shoulders anymore. But these are the other couple of things that I saw. We do have a rising wedge that's happening on the 4-hour chart. Okay. And what do we know about rising wedges? Okay. They'll come down. they tend to break down. And we're getting really close to the inflection point of this, and we rejected off of it, right? And this has held, okay? This has held. So let's zoom in. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. As you can see, it starts here, right? You could even extend this all the way over to here, and I bet you this trend line goes hella far. Let's take the magnet tool off. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about, actually. Boom. Okay. Zoom out just a little bit. Yeah, this thing goes hella far, man. Yeah. I mean, look at that trend line, man. Look at that trend line. A lot of people won't show you trend lines like this, but this thing has been respected. And then we fell below it. Like, look, it got respected. Bam, 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 bam. We fell through it, bearishly retested it, bam, down, bearishly retested it, bam, down. Could be bearishly retesting it again, bam, down, right? So what I mean by that is like this could reverse to the other side. And I'm going to give you the opposite of it too. Like this is probably, I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. We did reclaim the 200 moving average, but guess where that's at? $98,000. So we could fall all the way down here to where my take profits are, 98 something. I think it's like 98.7. And we're still above this 50 or not. Sorry. Hold on. My thing is tripping out, dude. We're still above the 200 moving average right there. So we could actually come down here and bounce from the 200 moving average, which is right here, this green line, and then head back upwards. But, these rising wedges, they tend to break down, man. As much as I hate to show it to people, like they tend to break down. It is what it is. That's just TA, man. And like, I'm agnostic on the charts. I don't care what way it goes. Like I'll make money either way. It's not a big deal to me. Right. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Why is there such a big discrepancy? 101.8 and 101.933 in the futures. Man, these futures guys must think this is super bullish. We're in a super bullish market because they're over $140 above the actual spot price on this. They're like $130 out of usually they're like $50 to $100 out of the money, but that's out of the money, like way, way, way out of the money. So anyways, there's that. Then we have these trend channels, right? And I want to show you this. I'll show you the first channel first, right? Here's our, obviously our lines in the sand, right? I'm going to turn these rays off. I'm going to turn these two off, right? This one can stay. Not this one. Sorry. This one. That's our line in the sand. We got outside of this trend channel, right? We're trying to get back into it on the 4-hour chart. What happens with upward trending channels? Rarely do they break out to the upside. Now, if we flip this to support, first off, we're going to have to get above this. There's an inflection point, right over here that we have to get above this, and then we have to hold it. And then could we ride this channel up continuing? Yes, we could. But most likely what's going to happen is you're going to go back into that channel because upward trending channels tend to break down, not up, right? But that's not even the channel that I'm talking about. This is a micro channel, right? This is since, December 29th. Look at this macro channel, though. We just smacked the top of it, and we just got rejected off of it, right? We just got rejected off of it, and guess where it could take us? Right back down to about $97,300, right? Somewhere in that realm. But if we go through halfway through both of those channels, let's pop them both up and let's look, because what we want to see is go back down halfway through these channels and then go up, right? Because if you show, that's bullish momentum, right? If you've been consistently hitting the bottom of the channel, hit the top, hit the bottom, hit the top, hit the bottom, and then you come here and then you only smack the middle, that's showing bullish momentum that shows, hey, we could be going upwards, right? But where does that put us? It puts us, the middle of these two channels is right at about $99,700. And it's at these two previous kind of like swing highs, this like almost double top nature, right? So I think I can ride this all the way down to at least 99.7, right? Potentially. And I think, potentially we could ride it all the way down to, 98.7, right? So that's why I entered the shorts, man. That's why I entered the shorts. Did I get the best price on the shorts? No, I didn't. I entered a little bit early and I averaged in on the way up. I actually, let's see what my order history is. Okay, so I put two Bitcoin. Okay, so 101.8. Yeah, 101.8 and then 102.258 is what I got. So actually, that's not a bad entry, to be honest with you. Oh, that one was canceled. So I got 101.450, 101.850, and then 102.250. That's what I got. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense now. And I'm in a half a Bitcoin short, 0.6 Bitcoin short at an average price of 101.6, 101.5 something, right? That's good enough for me. So my point is that if you look at the 4-hour chart, it looks like it could go down, is my point. It looks like it could go down. It's overextended from the 200. We got a God candle right here, massive, massive candle, huge volume, and then an immediate rejection, right? RSI, super oversold. Stochastics, super oversold. Look what happens whenever that happens, right? This was oversold over here. Boom. Big dump, big dump, big dump. Now, do I think that we're going to be dumping all the way down here? Like, are we going to come all the way back down here? Not necessarily. But again, we know what our levels are to figure that out, right? We know exactly what our levels are to figure that out. And it's from this FRVP, right? This FRVP is right here. Here's our first level, line in the sand, right? At about, 98.5, right? So if we lose that level, we're looking right down here. We're looking right down here at about, 96.5 or something like that. So, I mean, it's not terrible, but honestly, like the higher time frames are showing like this thing has a little bit of rollover on it, right? Now, here we're coming. This is the level. We're coming down to the value area high. If we fall through this, my bias is we come down here to the point of control, or at least to the moving average, the closest 50, 100, or 200 moving average on the 1-hour chart. That's just what I'm seeing. Okay. And we're bullish, or we're trying to bullishly retest this right now and bounce, right? But that's why I have my stop loss set as well. And it looks like we're probably going to lose it. If we go to the 1-hour chart, right? Let's see what happens. So we confirmed above it on this candle, but it was a doji candle. We're already below it on this candle. If we close a candle below this, it's basically nullified the breakout of this value area high, right? And then guess what? You're coming right down here to the 50 moving average, in my opinion. First stop is obviously going to be the 20 because the 20 is a magnet. So worst case scenario, you take profits at 99.6. Best case scenario, you take profits at 98.6. Okay, great. And then you flip. You see what happens here? You flip. Okay. Now, if you don't want to, you don't have to, right? But my point is that if we do bounce here, I'm flipping, right? If we do bullishly bounce, I'm going long. Okay. So this is kind of what I'm seeing in the markets right now. This is like legitimately what I'm seeing in the markets right now. So yeah, I mean, does anybody, so I'm going to go to the chat here in just a second, but I'm going to give everybody my public service announcement, right? Naturally, if you want me to do some live TA on any altcoin that you want, request it right now, right? Drop it in the chat and make sure you smash the like button, because I want to know that people actually like this content, first off, and second off, it helps it in the algorithm, right? We get a couple of few dozen people in these streams pretty much every time, which is great. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody that shows up. If you want live TA, I'm giving it to you first off on Bitcoin. That's easy. We know that. Like, I'm showing you my trades. I'm showing you my trade setups. I'm showing you everything live while I'm doing it, right? Like, you can even see right now that now my trade is probably in the money. Yeah, $200. We're good. We're looking gravy, right? This one's down 50 cents. So, man, if I get the profit on this one, I mean, look at this profit, dude. $16. Dude, do not spend all that in one place. Okay, do not spend all that in one place. I am an idiot. And I put a $50 position. I was trying to do $250. But it is what it is. So with all that being said, if you have altcoins that you want me to look at, drop them in the comments section right now. I'm going to go back to the chat here in just a second, and we'll look at them. But and then we'll look at Cardano and see, why did I exit, right? Because yesterday I told everybody, look, if we get above like $99,000, I think it was 99K, and we hold above it for like an hour or two, like one candle closes above it and then the next candle stays above it, then I'm closing those shorts, because I don't want it to, reverse on me. And let's see if that would have happened, right? Because that's my bias. I think that, Bitcoin a lot of times drags the market up with it, right? So Yeah, yeah, I mean, Cardano, like, would it have dragged me into, like, massive losses? No, not necessarily. I would probably still be a little bit profitable on this, but if Bitcoin would have kept ripping and not gotten rejected there, I definitely would have not wanted to be in this trade, right? So, I do still think that Cardano, it tried to confirm out of this channel and it got rejected, right? Got rejected almost immediately. Actually, it did get rejected immediately right here. Busted out of the channel, hit our resistance level right here. Textbook rejection. Now it's back down here, trying to retest the 20 and the 9 moving average, and then the 50s right here. Like my guess is it probably it falls through and it comes right down here to 104. And then if it leaves 104 range, dude, you're coming down to 98.5 cents. If you want to short Cardano, feel free to do it. I just kind of gave you the levels. I would put my stop loss right up here. I'll show you. My stop loss would be above here, right? About 114. Why am I putting my stop loss up there? Because that's the previous swing high. Okay. Right there. Boom. You see it. Let me get my little tool. Bam. There's a reason why we set these up the way that we set these up. There's always a reason. I should always be able to explain my trades, why I'm in a trade, exactly my thesis, and I should be able to explain it quickly, concise, and it shouldn't be confused. Okay, it should be very simple. We don't need a million things on our charts either. Even though it does look like there's a million things on my charts, there's really not. It's like a couple of trend lines. This is just a trade breakdown. I'm showing you, hey, this is what we would stand to make on this trade for Doge. Okay, so same thing happened with Doge, right? Came up. It did break out of our resistance zone here, but then it immediately fell back in, right? So yeah, I mean, I think Doge could probably come down here to the 100 moving average. Is that a big enough short position for me to care? No, it's not. So it wasn't worth me being in it for a massive stop loss that I would have to put up here. I would much rather enter a short here. Why? Same reason. Previous swing highs, baby. Or you could enter here. Previous swing highs at 41.50 cents, or the previous swing highs at about 42.5 cents, right? So there's two trades that you could keep on your radar, especially if Bitcoin dumps here, right? If Bitcoin dumps, like, these alts are going to get friggin' murdered, most likely, right? So I think I'll probably get paid off of my SPX, if Bitcoin dumps, and then we visit it whenever we get to that level, right? Whenever we get to that level, okay, let's set up our trade. Give me 1 second. Let it load. It's taking a second. I don't know what the heck's going on. I have good internet. I don't know what the heck's going on. Save. Okay. Reload. Yeah, let's try it again. Jesus. Crazy. Yeah, 101.7. Okay, so this thing's really, really fighting. The bulls are fighting. Why is Bitcoin... What is going on here? Jeez, that was crazy. I'd never seen the chart. It went down to like 40 cents. That was weird. I've never seen something do that. Okay, so we kissed the value area high. Okay, so if we start to see some bullish momentum upwards, I'm stopping out here. 102.8, right? That's where the previous resistance is about 102.780. I set mine about $100 outside of that just so I don't get a wick out, right? Because just like what happened down here in my last trade, we wicked almost out of our trade right here, right? But I set my stop loss a little bit outside of it, right? Outside of that range, outside of that zone. I set it at like 97.203 instead of 97, I think it was 3 I was going to set it at. Yeah, it was like 97.3 right here, which is these previous kind of like swing highs. And instead of doing that, I set it about $100 outside of it, and we did not get stopped out. And then we took a $2,000 profit, right? So again, right here, I'm not going to risk my $1,600 profit over an extra $50 in a loss, right? So I set my stop loss a little bit above that, right? 102.8. See what I set it at? 102.870, which is like $100 over the high of this kind of wick candle right here. So Yeah, that's what we're seeing on Bitcoin. Like, I'm looking at these levels, man. I mean, and we take it level by level, we take it day by day. And if you're averaging even $100 a day trading and you're making money, like, you're an animal. You're a badass. And I can't stress that enough. If you're consistently making money, I don't care if you got $500 and you're making $5 a day. That's 1% of your portfolio you're adding per day. Okay? That's awesome. Okay? So, I don't care if you have $500. I don't care if you have $5,000. Like, what I trade, anywhere from 5 to 8K on some of my trades. No big deal. Whatever. I don't care, right? If you've got 500,000, right? Gains are gains, man. Do not be scared to take gains, right? Could I have sold up here? Could I have, if I was just hawking the charts and blah, blah, blah? Yeah, I could have. But you know how little stress I had knowing that my stop loss wasn't going to get hit down here, trailing my stop loss up above the point or just under the point of control once we reclaimed it and then bullishly retested it, and then setting my take profits in 2 areas that were going to make me $2,000. You know how like low stress of a trade that was? Very low stress. Keep your stress levels low. That's why I set this trade up the way that I did, right? I'm not targeting $90,000, right? Because there's nothing that substantiates why I should be targeting $90,000. It's all the way down here, right? Why would I target that? My first target is going to be this 20 MA, right? This little pink line right here. This is my first target, 99.6, right? If we smash through that, I might take, 30% off right here. If we then go down here, this is my second target, the 50 MA and the point of control. I'll probably take another third off right here if I really wanted to. And then if we bounce, guess what? My stop loss is here at the 20 now. I'm guaranteed to make money at that point if it does what I'm saying it's going to do. If we continue downward, guess where my next take profit will be? Probably somewhere in this 95 to 96 range, right? Because that's where the 200 is. And my guess is that by the time we get down to this point of control, the 100 is going to be intersecting it. So if we lose the point of control, we're also losing the 100. And what my thesis is going to say is we're coming to the 200 now. And then I make good money, right? I might take all my profits right here. I might take all my profits right here. I don't care. As long as I'm making money, I'm good. If I'm averaging $100, $200 a day, golden. I'm trading $5,000 to $8,000. $100 a day would be $3,000 over a 30-day period. That's literally me taking 60% home on what I'm trading. Anywhere from 60% to 40%. 40 to 60%, depending on if I'm trading $5,000 or $8,000, right? If I'm bringing home $200 a day, I'm bringing home anywhere from 100% to 75% or 67%. So, like, those are good gains in any case, right? Percentages are percentages. So if you're bringing home those types of gains and your losses are like $50, like I'm making $1,000 gains, $700 gains, $400 gains, $2,000 gains, but my losses are $50, $130, $400, even $700, $800 if I get stopped out of this trade after a $2,000 profit, and knowing that I'm also targeting over $1,600 in profit on this trade with high probability setups. This is an A+ setup, not as A+ as what we took the other day because of the cup and handle, but this is an A+ setup. The other thing that I will say is I will probably take all my profits here if it gets here. Why? Because this would be another kind of bullish retest of the top of the cup and handle. And if you know anything about the cup and handle is targeting this area right here, 103,750. And the full extension, guess where? 105.5 almost. Okay, which is in congruence with that previous swing high. So I would probably take profits here and then consider longing. And then I would probably have another order there to consider a long. And then by that time, the 200's probably like right here. So I'd probably set my stop loss at about like 96.3, 96.5. And then I might even have another order just outside of this channel, just in case we get a wick outside of it, right? So yeah, you kind of see what we're looking at. You kind of see what we're doing. You see the thesis behind my trades. You see the trades play out live. And we'll see what happens. So I'm going to get into the chat, see if anybody requested anything. Literally no one requested anything. We've got 27 people on the call and not one request. There's not one person that wants me to look at an altcoin. We've got 6 minutes. I'll wait here for a second. If nobody requests anything within the next couple of minutes, then obviously we'll jump off. I do want to give you a brief synopsis of an opportunity that could have been taken here that I'm kind of salty I didn't. But whatever. We'll get back in the chat in here and just. Okay, so I had a long trade that was open, right here? 98.6 or something like that. So if I think it was 97.6. That's my bad. 97.8, I believe was my price. And we'll call it this. This was my range, right? So what I could have done here is trail my stop loss up. Now that we're up here, I could have trailed my stop loss up. And then once we hit this resistance, I could have entered an equal or less size short position here. But here's the problem with that. If you're going to do that, you have to have the money on the sideline in order to do that. Why did I not do that? Because I already had $6,000 on the trade that was going up. So I wasn't going to double down on my position. Did I have that in my portfolio to do that? Yes, I could have. But my point is that this is non-directional trading, right? So if I was in a profitable long that was like $2,000 in profit up here, and then I entered, say, the exact same position, 0.6 or 0.8 Bitcoin or whatever it was, to the short side, I could have rode that down here to see if it bounces and take profit at the value area low, but my long is still open. And then I make money on the short and close it out here and then ride the long up. What happens if it doesn't do that, right? We enter the short here and it actually comes down here, rejects and falls through. It stops you from losing the $2,500 that you had locked in up here. Because once you come down and you reclaim this level and then you bearishly retest it, this is where you would exit your long position and keep your short open to target these. So that's another thing that you can do. But again, make sure that if you're going to think about that as part of your strategy, you have to keep money on the sideline. So if I'm willing to risk $6,000 to $8,000 on a trade, what I would do is if I'm going to be considering trades like this, you have to think about these things in advance. If I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, this is a key part of my strategy, right? Then I would have had to put like $3,000 to $4,000 on my long trade and say, I'm okay with making less profit, taking less of a potential loss on my stop loss as well. Because you always have to think, I could be wrong on this, right? I could be wrong on this trade and it could totally have bounced right here and reverse on me. I could lose, $750, $800, right? I could be wrong on this trade. So my point is that you would have to think about that in advance and say, okay, I'm only going to put $3,000 to $4,000 on this trade. And then once it gets to a level where I think it's either resistance or if it's going down support, I'm going to open the opposite side of that trade, double down, right? And then now I can be non-directional and I can protect the profits that I already have on that one trade. And if it moves against me, I close that trade and I ride the other one, right? So that's another way to maximize your profit, just in case anybody happens to give a F. So with that being said, I just got into the chat. Literally, no one said anything. No one requested an altcoin. Think about these altcoins that you would like for me to look at in, hopefully that means that I'm doing enough analysis that people are like, yo, I'm just going to trade Bitcoin. Or I'm going to go look at Cardano or Doge or whatever it may be. Let me know in the comments section. Make sure you smash the like button for this video. Make sure you hit subscribe on this channel. Boom! Bang on the notification bell so that you know whenever I'm going live, because we're doing this all the time, right? Drop whatever you want me to see and whatever you want me to look at in the comment section. Seriously, I appreciate it because it helps me look at other coins that I might not necessarily be looking at, that I might not even necessarily heard about, right? And then it also helps you learn technical analysis because you're watching me do it on the fly. It's not a setup chart like, oh, I've already done the TA on this. No, you're requesting it and I'm going to do it live for you. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a good day. I hope everybody had a good weekend, and hopefully we have a really good week. We're already riding high on Monday with some massive profits. Comparatively, they might not be massive profits for some people. I get that. Like some people are making, 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand on their trades, but I'm not there yet, man. And I don't think that 99% of people out there have the bankrolls that those people have, or the risk tolerance that those people have either. And with that being said, like I want to make relatable content to a certain extent. Yeah, I mean, like I do really want to just make relatable content because most people are literally, they're okay with, having, I don't know, 2 grand, 3 grand in their trading account. This is relatable, right? You just scale and size your position exactly how it needs to be sized, right? So if you got $500, take a tenth of the trade that I'm taking. If you got $5,000, you can take the exact same trades. If you got $2,500, take half, right? So I want this content to be relatable enough that people are like, okay, this guy isn't trading $40 billion, right? Because I'll never be able to do that, right? And I'll probably never be able to do that. So with that being said, I will see you in the next stream. I appreciate everybody for showing up. Drop a like, drop a comment. Make sure you subscribe, obviously, and then boom, bang on the notification bell. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.